Here's a few instructions for life. Put your mind at ease. Relax. Let the vibes flow through. If you free your mind, your heart has to follow. When you lose, don't lose the lesson. And always follow the 3 R's. Respect for oneself, respect for others, and the responsibility for all your actions.
Hi. That was the words of the Dalai Lama at the dawn of the millennium, and it was to the wonderful music of Sin Plomo. And it goes on. Next is learn the rules so you know how to break them properly. Never ever give up. No, never ever let a little dispute injure a great friendship. Spend time alone every day and open your arms to change. But don't let go of your values. It's a great speech, and it continues. But my name is Debra, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, York University. It's a wonderful event. And today, it's funny, I'm a little shy because what I do is wordless. I work with the body. So here I am. I'm going to try to put it into words today. I'd like to talk a little bit about that which is invisible in the creative process. Creation in the here and now, and spontaneity. I'd like to take you back. When I was 6 years old, I remember my mother must have taken me to an ice-capades because I was sweeping the floor of our house, and I stopped and had this vision. Imagine if all the performers on the arena stood and put their right hand on their heart and both arms up in the air, and all the people in the audience cried. Wow. So this was something that was in my back pocket and stayed with me my whole life, and it popped up at different times and different crossroads when I had a decision to make. And usually it was a faint pow, people crying. And I would think, how many people do you get to communicate to if I choose that direction? So it was like the birth of a mission, communication to people. As a child, I danced, played, sung. The toilet paper roll was my mic as I looked in the reflection of the kitchen window, and pretend I was a rock singer. Did you all do that? We've all done it, right? And, my parents, they didn't have a lot of money, so there was no formal training as a child. And when I look back on that, that was to my benefit, because I never, ever put myself in a category. Whatever I dreamt, I would try. If the support was there to try it, there was no judgment because it came from my imagination. And I remember when I was 9, my father said we had to learn how to swim. So we went to the Y. Walking by to the pool, I saw a gymnasium and they were doing cartwheels. Well, that was it. I'd never seen a cartwheel before until then. That was it. I'd sealed the deal. I told him, okay, I will take swimming lessons if I can join the gymnastics team there at the Y. And I came from a small town, Brantford, not far from Toronto. And, we were big on enthusiasm, but low on expertise, small town. So I had a friend, and we would watch the competitions on television. So we would try them ourselves. I would stand there, try to spot her. She would do it, And then I would analyze why she fell on her head. Yeah. And you know, so fall and learn, fall and learn. The sky was the limit for us, but really the earth was the limit. You know, so it went on like that, just kept dreaming. In high school, you know, I was a gymnast because my legs were strong and I could spring. So, you know, my front lawn was like a track record because I would run and tumble on it all the time. But in high school, I choreographed everyone's gym routines, not because I knew how to do it, I hadn't a clue, but just because somewhere it was related to that first image, you know, communicate, share, passion. My passion was there. It wasn't until I got to university that I started to learn technique. I went to Western first, and I studied physical education and joined the gymnastics team. The reason I chose Western is because they had a gymnasium that you did not have to put away every night. So that made sense to me. And I learned technique. I learned how to do an aerial cartwheel with one step. But the year before that, I learned it at my high school, but I had to run probably from that wall to that wall and open the doors. I had to start outside because the technique I used drove me into the ground. I didn't know that, but I managed to learn it. And then I came to York, and York University, I have to say, after Western, York was the most phenomenal mix of creativity, experimentation, open doors, and solid technique. So the ground and the air, learning to fly. I remember every single course that I took at York. From there, I went to Vancouver and got to use all of this technique and experimentation. I worked with gymnasts, at the same time dancing, gymnasts, sport, audience. It was always a question, how many people are there to communicate with? How many people are over here? And you know, I worked with the same gymnasts for 8 years, from the time they were 7 and 8 to 16, 17, and there's something to be said about longevity. I taught them everything I learned at York. Every single thing. I was obsessed. So, you know, we developed a style, a kind of very unique blend of gymnastics and dance, and they traveled all over the world. I got to travel all over the world. They were on the Olympic team, national team. And you know, the question was, how can you touch the hearts of the people with a flip? You know, you can appreciate a back flip in the air because of the technical expertise, but I was on a mission. But how can you feel? Like, how could you make somebody cry? And that was a journey in Vancouver. I remember we would work on the trampoline, you know, how to rebound and come up. Where's the moment? So it's not just a flip, but wow, how can you feel? Anyway, that's a little bit of that story. I had explored, was with this gymnastics team and studying dance, performing as a dancer in Vancouver. And I had finally reached the limit as to the artistry that I found. And someone said the Cirque de Soleil was coming to Vancouver. You should meet them. I said, oh, okay, I will. Well, I just happened to see the big top at the Children's Festival, so I snuck under it at intermission. And the second half was 2 hours long. I even left before the ending. But I was so blown away because here is this company that is doing the same thing in circus as I was doing in gymnastics, making art out of circus, art out of sport. So I boldly thought to myself, yeah, but 2 hours, second half, they need a choreographer. So, you know, there's a series of steps. I knew that I would reach them, but serendipity would have it. In 1987, the circus decided to gamble everything they had. The owners of the circus mortgaged off their houses. They were invited to open the LA Festival of the Arts. They had enough money to get there, but they didn't have enough money to get back. That was a big risk. Risk. Love that word. Risk everything if you have to. As long as you believe in it, don't be afraid, right? Anyway, I was lucky. I joined the Rouster as a choreographer. So off I went to Montreal. We had 3 weeks rehearsal, okay? And I met Franco Dragone, who was the director at the time from Belgium, an Italian director from Belgium. And the first thing he asked me was, "Where do you born?" He didn't speak any French. I didn't speak any English. And very few artists, maybe 1 or 2, spoke English at that time. So the whole process of creation was in French. I had no idea what anybody was saying. I pretended that I understood, but I didn't. All I had was my eyes. So Franco and I learned, j'ai une bonne idée. And so I'd go out on the stage and explain to him, you know, and we would talk like this the whole year. We would sit down to have a conversation and we'd have maybe 3 words without a translator, and that was it. We'd just look at each other. But you know what? That's incredible, because by not sharing words, we bypassed the mind completely and went right to the belly. Boom. Our creation was right from the heart and the belly. And if it didn't move us here, we didn't go there. So that was a gift. It was difficult, but it was a gift. So that was the beginning of our relationship. And we were 13 years, pretty much the same creative team. And I wanted to talk about that era at Cirque de Soleil. We played like kids. Circus by nature, like that dynamic breakdancing troupe that you saw. Circus artists, many of them start on the street. If you don't entertain your public, they leave. So you have to think on your feet. You have to be ready to pivot, turn right if you need to, and even though you plan to turn left. We did that every single day. Every single day. The artists would be in front of us. Slowly and surely, the artists came from all over the world, internationally. The first time that we created with Russian artists right in the creative process was in 1994. So we had to find out the talent from each individual. The only thing that was important every day, we'd start with maybe a word. 2, never more than 2. Or a piece of music. And we would explore. And we'd have to pull out the talent of the artists and find out what is the best. And that was an amazing process. Because first of all, we used our intuition. We had no idea where we were going apart from that piece of music. Apart from one word. Here we come. We walk into the room. You're standing in front of us. The music starts. Let's move. From there, the birth of so many ideas came. We created in the here and now. I'm trying to put it in words. I feel like I need you all to stand up and we should create something right now to try to do that. You know, many times we got caught with our pants down, you know, not knowing what to do, lost. Didn't matter. Each day we went home inspired. I don't remember a day not going home inspired. Not that we created the show, because we didn't. We didn't work on the show. We worked on becoming a community. We worked on being inspired by someone's eyes. That could have come from a piece of music, maybe a direction. Show us, artists, you're hungry. And then all of a sudden look up slowly. Oh, stop, right there. And then we spend the whole afternoon like this. Stop right there. Then we try to walk. Then maybe fall, walk, there. You know, if you could look at someone and feel, that was okay. We were doing okay that day. Each day we went home feeling. And what I realized, the last 2 weeks were always a mad scramble just to put the show together. But what we had was we had an empowered community of love, inspiration. We had woken up together, played like children every day from our hearts, body to body. And especially with all the language barriers, it's impossible to do anything else but. And you know, since then, I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with so many different musicians and artists, and it's a great ride. So I want to just leave you with a couple of things, is that you have to trust your intuition. If you have a picture in the back of your mind, follow it. It'll never lead you wrong. You never need more than a small lamp. Baba Haridas, who is a silent teacher, which is interesting that I chose a silent teacher to study with. I studied pranayama with him. Said, you know, everyone is walking into the unknown. You only need to carry a small lamp, step by step. A large lamp is just an illusion. We're all walking into the unknown. So just keep the light on in your heart and keep on moving. Trust it. And the other thing I'd like to leave you with, gamble everything. If not, leave this gathering. That's a Rumi quote, by the way. But give everything you have. Everything. It'll come back to you. You might get exhausted, you'll empty, but it will come back. Now, the rest of the Dalai Lama poem. And remember that silence is sometimes the best answer. Live a good, honorable life, and when you get older and think back, you'll be able to live it a second time. That's right. A loving atmosphere in the home is a foundation for life. And share your knowledge. It's a way to achieve immortality. And there's one more thing that's very, very important. Judge your success by what you had to give up in order to get it. Sin Plomo is a DJ if you would like to listen to that. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.